Vamos a ver un destino que puede ser no tan convencional para muchas personas. Vamos a hablar sobre Washington, por qué Washington es un destino muy bueno para aprender inglés. Tenemos la presencia de Icls, que es una institución que ha trabajado por más de 55 años, no solo dictando clases de inglés para los individuales, sino para empresas, para NGOs, para organizaciones no gubernamentales. Incluso ellos han trabajado con el FBI. Entonces, tenemos a nuestra disposición en esta charla, gracias a Expo Estudiar y a la agencia Estudiar por darnos este espacio en que puedan conocer una opción diferente a lo que generalmente los estudiantes están acostumbrados y van a tener una calidad académica excelente y van a poder aprovechar mucho los beneficios que tenemos ahorita y lo que nos van a contar ellos sobre por qué Washington es un destino muy bueno para estudiar inglés. Um, on behalf of Estudiar, thank you very much to ICLS and Adam and Dries for being here. We're very happy to have you here. And I know for sure that this conference today will impact very much not just the Colombian sector or the students, because we have in the fair many people from Mexico, from Peru, from Ecuador. So I think it will be great to have this conference right now. So please, you can start and let me know if you need anything or something, okay?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Carlos and Gloria, and to everyone at Expo Estudiar for this great workshop that we're all here today. And we're really excited to share with you some things about our school, but also the wonderful city of Washington, D.C., and all the opportunities that you can have here. I'd like to first just introduce myself and some of my colleagues here who will be on this presentation. So I'm Dries. I am the marketing manager at ICLS, and I was born and raised in Washington, D.C.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adam McConnell, and I am the director of the English division at the International Center for Language Studies. I am from Virginia, which is very close to Washington, D.C. And I'm really happy to meet all of you. And thank you, Expo Estudiar, for letting us give this presentation today.
And not here with us, but someone whom we would like to share a story about is Rene Panilla. He is an ICLS intern, and he is from Panama. And we're going to talk a little bit later about his success story, how he was a college student in Washington, D.C., and then became an intern with us at ICLS. So really quickly, we're going to go through the agenda. First, we're going to give a brief overview of ICLS. Then we're going to really deep dive into the city of Washington, D.C. and some of the things that you can do while you're there as a student. We're then going to touch upon Rene's success story. And then after that, we would love to hear some of your questions. So one thing about ICLS and what we do is we deliver language instruction, and we do so mainly, we teach 85 languages, but today we're going to focus on English as a second language. And what we have is a lot of accreditations, and those accreditations represent the quality of education that you're going to get with us. In the United States, there are a lot of accreditations that you must have to be able to teach at English as a second language in this country. And we have some of the main ones, such as CEA. We are a member of English USA. And we are also a global member of the International Association of Language Centers. And one other thing to note is we are 54 years old. So we have been in Washington, D.C. as a school teaching English for 54 years. Our teachers are experienced. So on average, they have 15 years of teaching experience. They're very educated. Most have master's degrees, and they also have teaching degrees in TESOL. They are very passionate. So we spend hours not only inside the classroom, but outside the classroom preparing in coming up with new engaging lessons for you. And they're very dynamic. So we have a unique teaching methodology that emphasizes speaking. And through that speaking methodology, you will always be engaged with the teacher and your classmates. We are a very global school. So as you can see here, based on our last year's class, we have had a very, very balanced spread of students. 20% from Latin America, 15% from Europe, 20% from Asia, 15% from Middle East, and we also have some African students as well. This global experience will give you a chance to learn English with other non-Spanish speakers, which is really beneficial for you as Colombians. One of the best things about our school is that we are located right in downtown Washington, D.C., and this enables you to get around very easily using our public transportation system. We have a great train station system, and you can also walk to the various sites that Adam will talk about a little bit later. And I could talk all day about how great DC is, but instead, I would also like to show you a video of DC and our students.
Sorry, Dries, we're not hearing the sound of the video. I think when you share screen, you give the option share screen, there's an option that it says share sound in advance, I think, because we can hear it right now.
Let me see if I can find that.
Estamos poniendo el sonido para el video. A los que nos están viendo, solo denos unos momentos para que podamos escuchar el video y los que podamos tener la experiencia. Yeah, when you give like
okay, I see. Yep. I'll start from the beginning. I think I just got it. Let me know if you can hear.
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm going to hand it off now to Adam so he can talk a little bit more in detail about some of the iconic places in Washington.
Great. Thank you so much, Dries, for telling us a bit about ICLS and also showing us that video. I'm just going to go through a few of the reasons why Washington, D.C. is an amazing place to live, to work, and to study. I'll go through each section and then I'll have Renee do a translation into Spanish of the highlights of what I talk about. And so hopefully this will be accessible for everyone in that case. So I'm going to start out by talking about the US government. Of course, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. It's located on the East Coast. It's a few hours bus ride from New York City as well as the beach. It was founded in 1790, and there are many historic buildings in Washington, D.C. For example, the U.S. Capitol building that you see here, the U.S. Supreme Court, and of course the White House. And if you're interested in government, politics, law, or even US history, Washington, D.C. is really a perfect place to match your interests. Our school takes regular field trips to the sites of interest, and there are so many, and our students really enjoy it. You can see some pictures here where we've taken some groups, and it's always a fun excursion. So I'll let Renee translate that portion for you.
Buenas noches a todos. Como dice el señor McConnell, Washington, D.C. es sede a diferentes edificios, organizaciones en la capital de los Estados Unidos. Tal como lo vemos aquí, la Corte Suprema de Justicia, la Casa Blanca, el Capitolio, organizaciones como el Banco Mundial, el Fondo Monetario Internacional, y entre otras. La ciudad fue fundada en 1790 y a lo contrario de lo que mucha gente piensa, Washington no solo es una ciudad de política y gobernancia, también aquí hay mucho lo que es museos, cultura, etcétera.
Great, thank you so much.
Nuestra escuela está localizada muy cerca y gracias.
Great, thank you. And so now I want to tell you a little bit about the international organizations in Washington, D.C. So if you have an interest in economics or the workings of international organizations, Washington, D.C. is a great place to visit and spend time. We have the headquarters for the World Bank as well as the IMF. And ICLS actually partners with these organizations to provide language training. So we have a lot of experience working with individuals at those organizations. Renee?
Sí. Muchas organizaciones internacionales, tales como mencioné, el Fondo Monetario Internacional y el Banco Mundial, tienen sedes en Washington. Nuestra escuela International Center for Language Studies ha tenido una muy buena relación con estas organizaciones por muchos años.
Thank you so much, Renee. And so I want to tell you a little bit about the Smithsonian Institute, which is one of the very most famous places in Washington, D.C. It's a series of museums founded in 1846. And entry into those museums is free. So it's definitely a benefit for individuals in the area. You can go anytime to visit one of the many museums, and you never have to pay anything to go in there. And there are collections of thousands of years of human history as well as history of the planet. Some of the most famous museums there are the National Air and Space Museum, the National Museum of the American Indian, the African American History Museum, which is one of the newest museums that we have here, the American History Museum. And there's also a fun event that takes place every summer called the Folklife Festival. And it's a presentation of art, music, and entertainment from around the world. And it's definitely something worth seeing sometime. Renee?
Los museos Smithsonian fueron fundados en 1846. Son una serie de museos a los que uno puede ir público, no tiene que pagar nada, son totalmente gratuitos y tienen colecciones de miles de años de civilización humana. Tales museos que uno puede encontrar en el National Mall son el Museo de Cultura Afroamericana, el Museo del Hombre Norteamericano o el Hombre Amerindio, como le conocen, el Museo de la Historia de Estados Unidos, entre otros.
Great, thank you, Renee. And so Washington is a great place to experience the outdoors and to have your own personal adventure, from kayaking in the tidal basin to playing soccer on the National Mall. There's something for any outdoor enthusiast. And you can see a few actual examples of our students, and these are our students who have done kayaking trips, as well as you know, going to the National Mall is just a great place to hang out, play sports. And of course, there are many parks all over the city, which make it a fun place to spend outdoor time. Renee?
Washington, D.C. también tiene muchísimas actividades al aire libre. Usted puede disfrutar de jugar fútbol en el mall, hacer kayaking, estar en el río Potomac, entre otras. Muchísimos estudiantes de nuestra escuela hacen lo mismo.
Thank you so much, Renee. So now I want to tell you a little bit about something that's very special in Washington, D.C., which is the Cherry Blossom Festival. And the Cherry Blossom Festival happens once a year in the spring. And it's one of the most popular events in the city. And many people choose to study or visit Washington during the spring so that they can have this unique opportunity to see the cherry blossoms bloom. So the Cherry Blossom Festival coincides with the blooming of the cherry blossom trees in the spring. And so for 1 week, the city has a beautiful pink flowers just everywhere. And it's really great for photography and just to walk around and enjoy in this unique opportunity. It actually has a very interesting history. It began in 1912 when Japan gave the city of Washington the first cherry blossoms as a sign of international friendship between the two countries. Renee?
Algo emblemático de la ciudad son las flores de cerezo. Cada primavera las flores de cerezo decoran la ciudad. Estas están en toda la ciudad y son muy buenas para la fotografía, son buenas para diferentes escenarios y para que la gente pueda ir a hacer turismo. Las flores de cerezo tienen su historia en 1912 cuando Japón le dio este regalo a Washington, D.C. como regalo de agradecimiento y diplomacia.
Great, thank you so much, Renee. The next slide, I want to tell you a little bit about sports. And Washington is definitely a big sports city. And so if you're into sports, if you love sports, this is a great place to be. There are lots of professional teams as well as personal leagues that you can join if you're living here, which is a lot of fun. Some of the big professional teams that we have here, we have the Nationals baseball team. We also have DC United soccer team. We also have the Washington football team. And of course, the Capitals hockey team. And that's a very special team because they won the Stanley Cup, which is the big hockey tournament in 2018. So it's a really fun place to catch your favorite sport with friends. Renee?
Washington, D.C. también tiene muchos deportes para el gusto de cada persona. En Washington, usted puede encontrar diferentes equipos a diferentes deportes. Si a usted le gusta el béisbol, está la Liga Nacional de Béisbol. También el DC United de fútbol soccer, el Capitals Hockey Team, que ganaron la Copa Stanley. Y usted también puede entrar y participar en diferentes ligas en los lugares aledaños de la ciudad.
Great, thank you so much, Renee. And now I want to tell you a little bit about entertainment because we all like to have fun sometimes. And so there's so many different options for entertainment in Washington. You can ride the Capitol Wheel, which you see pictured here. You can also visit the MGM Grand Casino, and both of those are located at the National Harbor, which is just a great place to visit for restaurants and hanging out with friends. Of course, there's also Georgetown, which is the home of Georgetown University, one of the most famous universities in the USA. And Georgetown has lots of bars and restaurants and shops and a lot of fun things to do in your free time. Renee?
De igual manera, hay mucho entretenimiento en la ciudad. Usted puede ir al tal conocido National Harbor, donde hay mucho entretenimiento en cuanto a restaurantes, vida nocturna y también lugares de excursión. Usted puede ir a lugares como Georgetown, que tienen universidades emblemáticas en esta ciudad como lo es Georgetown University. De igual manera, hay muchos restaurantes, tiendas y lugares históricos que usted puede visitar en estos lugares cerca de la ciudad.
Great, thanks so much. And then the nightlife, of course, is something that's definitely a lot of fun, and there are lots of different options in Washington for having fun after hours. And so you can see pictured here one of the most famous areas for nightlife, U Street and Adams Morgan. That's definitely the place to be on a Friday and Saturday night with your friends. Go to the 930 Club or Flash for modern dance music. You can visit one of the many, many jazz and blues venues all across the area. And, you know, you can even take salsa lessons at Habana Village. Renee?
De igual manera, hay mucha vida nocturna en Washington, D.C. La vida nocturna tiene muchos lugares y opciones que usted puede escoger. U Street y Adams Morgan son los lugares donde más discotecas y lugares nocturnos puede encontrar. Un sábado y domingo puede ir a escuchar jazz y blues, y de igual manera puede tomar clases de salsa y escuchar diferentes tipos de música hasta altas horas de la noche.
Great, thanks so much. And then finally, I want to wrap up telling you a little bit about nature. So Washington isn't just a big city. There are lots and lots of opportunities in the city and also nearby to connect with nature, to get away. There are so many opportunities. You can take a walk in Rock Creek Park. You can visit the Theodore Roosevelt Island, which is an undeveloped island right in the middle of the city. And that's actually the first picture you see here, just a great place to take a walk and get away. We have bike trails all over the city and also in the suburbs. And so if you like to bike, you can get out, you know, and explore the trails. If you want to go a little bit further, you can go to a very famous place called Shenandoah National Park, which is just a couple hours drive from Washington. And there you can hike the world famous Appalachian Trail and take pictures of the unique Appalachian mountain range that actually spans 14 states in the US. And you see pictured here actually a photograph of the Appalachian, the Shenandoah area in the fall. And the fall is just an amazing time to be in this area and to be in the Shenandoah, because the leaves turn beautiful colors and it's really just a special experience. Renee?
Washington, D.C. no solo es una gran ciudad, pero también hay muchos lugares donde usted puede ir a disfrutar de la naturaleza. Tales son la isla Theodore Roosevelt, como se ve en la foto. Es una pequeña isla muy rural, muy donde usted puede ir a disfrutar la naturaleza. También está Rock Creek Park en medio de la ciudad. Puede ir a usted a correr, a hacer ciclismo, ya que hay muchas vías. Y si quiere escaparse de la ciudad, a 2 horas se encuentra Shenandoah. Shenandoah está en 14 estados de los Estados Unidos y tienen grandes lugares para ir a hacer campamento, caminar, correr, y también los grandes montes Apalaches.
Great, thank you so much, Renee, for translating for me. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Renee, and Renee is going to tell us a little bit about his unique story of coming to the US and studying in the Washington area. So Renee, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Adam. Gracias a todos. Voy a dar mi charla en español. Mi nombre es René Pinilla, como ya pueden haber escuchado. Tengo 25 años y soy originario de Panamá. Yo me gradué en la Universidad George Washington, localizada en el centro de la ciudad, en 2019. Tuve la oportunidad de atender desde el 2015 hasta el año pasado, en donde pude conocer muchísima gente, hacer muchos contactos en diferentes organizaciones como el Banco Mundial, el Fondo Monetario, el Banco Interamericano de Desarrollo, entre otras. Muchas de estas organizaciones son claves en el desarrollo mundial, lo cual hace atractivo para mucha gente que quiere estudiar política, gobernancia, relaciones internacionales, etc. Usted también puede tener la opción de estudiar en diferentes universidades. La Universidad American, George Washington y Georgetown. Una vez yo me gradué, tuve la oportunidad de trabajar en el International Center for Language Studies, Icls, desde agosto de 2019 hasta julio de este presente año. Estaba haciendo diferentes trabajos con pasantías. También tuve la oportunidad de atraer muchos estudiantes a la escuela y tuve la oportunidad de hacer una gran colaboración con un proyecto de México. De la misma manera pude disfrutar de muchos estudiantes que estudiaban inglés en Icls y lo que les puedo comentar es que es una experiencia gratificante y me encantaría mantenernos en contacto y que me puedan hacer cualquier pregunta si tienen el interés de venir a Washington. Muchísimas gracias.
Drish, I think you're muted.
Thank you so much, Renee. And on the theme of opportunity, we want to briefly talk about another department that ICLS has, and that's called Win in the USA. Win in the USA is a J1 visa program in which we can help place students in internships in the USA. Anywhere from Los Angeles to Chicago to New York to Washington, D.C. And it stems from various industries such as marketing, business development, technology. And what we can do, depending on your skills, is help you get an internship in the United States. So we're happy to talk about that a little bit later. And at the end, you guys can certainly be in touch with us about that. Renee?
El programa Win in the USA patrocina visas J1, significa visas de intercambio. Bajo el memorándum del Exchange Visitor Program, diferentes estudiantes de diferentes partes del mundo tienen la oportunidad de venir a hacer pasantías a los Estados Unidos y laborar como sí. Muchos de nuestros estudiantes vienen desde lugares lejanos como Europa, también vienen de África, Asia, etc. El estudiante tiene la oportunidad de participar en su área de estudio, mercadeo, negocios, turismo, etc. Es una gran oportunidad para todos los que quieran estudiar o trabajar en los Estados Unidos y es altamente recomendado. Si tiene alguna otra pregunta, se puede poner en contacto con nosotros.
Great. And we wanted to bring up something about how Colombians can come study with us. And we know, obviously right now it's not the best time to be traveling. So we want to just extend and let you know that we're offering 2 ways you could learn with us. You could obviously come to Washington once things are able for that. And what we'll do is we'll offer a discount for you. So if you want to register for 3 months of intensive English program, you will receive the 3rd month for 50% off tuition. The other option is if you wanted to learn online with us, which we're offering right now, you can join anytime for only $100 a week. All right. And we really encourage you to, I'm sorry, Renee, go ahead and tell them that, please.
Yeah. Tenemos una gran promoción para los estudiantes de Colombia en el que usted puede pagar solamente $100 por semana para el programa de inglés intensivo. De igual manera, si se registra para 3 meses de inglés, el tercer mes se reducirá en un 50%. Esto solo es válido hasta el 31 de diciembre del presente año. Es un momento difícil para todos, pero no significa que no podamos estudiar en línea.
Thank you. And please, if you have the chance right now, if you have a QR scanner, please go ahead and find our Instagram page where we post weekly new updates, new photos of what we're doing in the classroom and outside the classroom. Of course, you can send us an email at english@icls.edu for any question you may have at all. And you can also find our website here by using the QR code scanner. We'll now take questions if there are any.
Yes, thank you, Dries, Adam, Rene. It's really great. And we do have questions. So I'll just say the question in Spanish first, then in English, and then I can translate it again. So, primera pregunta, ¿cuál es la edad mínima para hacer un curso con ICLS? So we have a question of Juan Andres, which is, what is the minimum age to take a course in ICLS?
Mhm.
Great, that's a good question. And so most of our students are 17 years of age and older. We do sometimes have students that are a little bit younger if they're mature. So sometimes we've had students that are 15 or 16 if they're here with a relative. And if they're mature, that's definitely fine too. So it's kind of on a case-by-case basis, but definitely 17 and older is okay.
Okay, so a partir de 17 años, pues tienen la mayoría, ¿sí? Hay casos en los que pueden incluso a partir de 15 o 16, que se revisan caso por caso, case by case, y depende mucho también de que estén viviendo con relatives, en este caso sería parientes, para los temas de 15 y 16, pero a partir de 17, sin ningún problema, lo podemos hacer. Okay, there's a question of Mariana, which is, sorry, en español primero. Si quiero extender mi curso en Estados Unidos, mi curso de inglés, ¿debo dejar Estados Unidos para hacerlo o lo puedo hacer en Estados Unidos? So, if I want to extend my course, can I do it there or do I have to leave USA and apply from outside?
Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that she's asking about on the F1 visa. So if a student is on an F1 visa, it is possible to extend your program while you're still in the States. So if she were to sign up for, 2 or 3 months and then decide she wants to stay another few months, there is an option to extend without having to leave the States. Yes.
Ok, thanks. La respuesta, puedes extender, hay una opción para extender en Estados Unidos sin tener que dejar Estados Unidos, y a lo que hace referencia, a lo que me dijo Adam, es para la visa tipo F1, ¿sí? Para que lo tengas presente. Ok, tercera pregunta, tenemos una pregunta de Simón. Vi en la página web que ofrecen otros idiomas, solo se pueden hacer online. So, question from Simon. I saw you offer in the webpage other languages courses. Are they just online?
No, so we offer other languages, and those languages can be taught in our schoolhouse in DC or online. Obviously, right now, we're fully online due to COVID-19, but eventually, once it's safe, we will be resuming classes in person.
Okay, thanks, Dries. No, o sea, pueden tomar las clases de otros idiomas presencial. Sin embargo, por la situación que vivimos actualmente, estamos teniendo la alternativa online. Sin embargo, sí lo pueden hacer presencial, no lo tienen que hacer solo online. Ok, preguntas de David es, ¿cuál es la ventaja principal de tomar un curso con ICLS? So, okay, guys, we have a question from David, a tricky question, but I think it's a good question as well. What is the main advantage to take a course with ICLS?
That's a great question. I think there are a lot of different advantages. ICLS is very unique from other schools in the sense that if you are a professional or you are aspiring to work in a professional atmosphere in the future, ICLS is a great choice because we have a lot of experience working with professionals, economists, people that work in embassies. So we have a lot of experience with these business skills, these professional skills that students need to master in order to succeed in a professional environment. We do have, of course, students that are studying for general English and academic skills, but I think one thing that really makes us stand apart is our teachers are really attuned to the needs of a professional group. And so, you know, if you're a college student or even a high school student and you have professional goals, it could be a really good experience because we have a very diverse student body, and you know, we have students of all ages, and it's really great to gain that perspective, having classes with students from a variety of different backgrounds and having classes with professionals and with very professional teachers. Yes.
And also, sorry, you're gonna have a really long answer because I love this question. I like to talk about our strengths. We also share the schoolhouse with all of our American students who are learning foreign languages. And that really provides a unique immersive experience for the students because we do a lot of parties joint with the English program and our foreign language program. So they really get an opportunity to network with a lot of very well aspiring Americans who have really great jobs and are learning languages sponsored by companies. So that, and then one more thing is, unlike some of the bigger franchise chain schools that may be throughout the country or the world, there's only one ICLS, and we've been the same school teaching quality English for over 54 years in Washington, D.C. So we will always give individual attention to every single student, and we will always guarantee the same quality we've been guaranteeing for over 54 years.
Thank you very much, both of you. That's great. I'm gonna start explaining first the Adam and then the Dries explanation. Sure. So para Adam, ventaja principal es si en este momento ustedes están buscando un objetivo profesional, si son estudiantes de colegio, de high school, el enfoque que van a ver con ICLS es muy académico, como lo mostramos al principio, tienen la presencia y la capacidad y calidad de sus profesores, que son los que les garantizan no solo el éxito en el nivel de inglés, sino incluso una rapidez al hacerlo, ¿sí? Lo van a hacer incluso de una manera más sencilla, más fácil, porque ellos tienen el conocimiento por más de 54 años. Vamos a poder tener este enfoque. Entonces, una ventaja principal que pueda resumir muy bien lo que dijo Adam es el enfoque académico y la garantía que puede dar ICLS para brindarles a ustedes de esta oportunidad, para que tengan su fluidez y su dominio del inglés de la mejor manera posible. Y la explicación de Dries, que también es muy importante, es uno, vamos a tener no solo estudiantes, lo que pasa que es que como van a tener varios idiomas, y como ahí sí les explica varios idiomas, hay estudiantes americanos que están en la schoolhouse teniendo sus cursos de otros idiomas, así que la inmersión para los estudiantes colombianos es una ventaja a la que yo les digo de verdad, pónganle mucha atención, es la cantidad de latinos en Washington va a ser mucho menor que en otras instituciones. Y esta oportunidad que ofrece ICLS de tener, digamos, no solo estudiantes de otros países como lo vimos en el chart, sino americanos también, hace que la experiencia sea mucho mejor y mucho más real, y que se esfuercen realmente por hablar inglés en la escuela, ¿sí? También ellos no son una cadena, que es importante, las cadenas tienen presencia en varias partes del mundo, ellos son una única institución, solo hay un ICLS en Washington desde hace 54 años, por lo que el trato es muy distinto entre una cadena y una institución que es propia y que no tiene muchas presencias y que ya es grande y masiva, sino que es el trato a los estudiantes va a ser mucho más familiar y mucho más personalizado, por lo que esto realmente es una excelente ventaja. Thank you guys again. We have A question from Juan Fernando. Pregunta de Juan Fernando. Es, ¿de cuántas horas a la semana es el intensive program del descuento? So we have, Juan Fernando was interested in knowing how many hours per week is the intensive program English that you show with the discount for the third month?
Great. That's a great question. And so our intensive program, whether it's online or face-to-face, is the same program. It is 20 hours of instruction per week, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Monday through Friday. But then in addition, there are also some afternoon components. And so for instance, there's a virtual field trip or field trip on Tuesdays. There's a conversation club on Wednesdays, and there are also workshops through the week on pronunciation and business English. And so there's really something to keep students busy both in the mornings and the afternoons and keep them practicing their English and learning.
Wow, that's really great. So Juan Fernando, duran 20 horas a la semana, tanto presencial como online. Algo bueno que está ofreciendo Icls, que yo incluso considero que es algo muy positivo, es que vas a tener actividades incluso en la semana. Vas a tener conversation clubs, que sería un club de conversación. Vas a tener incluso field trips, virtual field trips, que significaría paseos virtuales y pues como no podemos viajar, pues les muestran un poco el recorrido virtual y van a aprender inglés de otra manera diferente para que sea más interactivo y ICLS se preocupa porque el estudiante esté ocupado y que tenga actividades tanto en la mañana como en la tarde para que pueda practicar su inglés de la mejor manera. Incluso los precios también son muy buenos, $100 por semana es un gran beneficio para que lo aprovechen. Última pregunta de Nicolás, ¿puedo trabajar mientras estudio inglés? So the last question will be from Nicolas. Can I work while studying English? I do know the answer, but maybe you can explain a little bit about the internship or like guide it to the other way of how he can do it. But yes, explain the thing about simultaneously English and Spanish, English and working, sorry. And I think with the internship, I think you can explain another thing that can kind of solve the question.
Great. That is a little bit of a tricky question. So for students on an F1 visa, they aren't allowed to work and study in the US. They're only allowed to study, at least through our program. We only have a study program. So F1 students would not be able to work in that case. Now, through the J1 program, there is an opportunity to do an internship in the US. And we have had students that will combine that with English in terms that before they come to the States, they'll take English training to help them prepare, because we have an online program. They can go ahead and take it from their home country and prepare before they come to the States to do their internship. And so that is the closest option to that. So it really depends on the particular visa circumstances for that student.
Thank you, Adam. Nicolás, mira, para la visa F1 no podemos trabajar mientras estudiamos inglés, ¿sí? Bajo la visa J1, que tenemos el programa de prácticas, podrías trabajar y el tema del inglés incluso lo haces antes de llegar a tu práctica para que te prepares para ese entorno laboral, para ese ambiente que puedes hacer, pero simultáneamente inglés y trabajo no lo puedes hacer. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna, another question we have, okay, tenemos una pregunta, sorry, de Sara, ¿en qué campos o en qué áreas se consiguen las prácticas o qué es lo más común? So, Sarah is asking, like, which are the most common areas, maybe, or sectors where you can find an industry, maybe tech industry, some business, in which fields are the internships most common to be, or ways I think I can explain myself there?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. it is a little bit balanced, but I would say business administration and marketing tend to be pretty high. We do get several, if you have a computer science background, several of tech internships as well. And, you know, there are some others, whether maybe it's in more of a legal field or maybe it's a little bit more on a scientific side, but I would say most are business administration. And, you know, we're happy if anyone offline wants to see a full list of what fields we place in, some of the companies that we work with, that would be great.
Okay, thank you, Dries. Sara, mira, las principales están entre administración de negocios o marketing, ¿sí? Estas serían como las dos principales. Sin embargo, si tenemos, por ejemplo, un background, es decir, como tienes conocimientos en el tema de tecnología, se puede lograr. También hay opciones de legal, el tema de derecho, ¿sí? Y nos invita Dries para que si tenemos interesados y pregunten sobre la lista de los campos que hay ahorita para las prácticas y que puedan ver, por ejemplo, las compañías con las que han tenido, con las que han trabajado en este tipo de programas. Again, thank you very much, Adam, Dries, and Renee for the conference. I think it was really great. I think it opened opened eyes for Colombians who may not think Washington as a first option. I think this will be a great introduction for people considering Washington. I know they will. I will invite right now people to go to the stand of ICLS. I explain a little bit how to get there and the options they have in the stand. Por favor, así que asistan al stand. El stand está ubicado, se van a pabellones y ponen idiomas, ¿sí? Ahí pueden buscar por destino. Si buscan por Estados Unidos, les va a salir muy rápido. El stand se llama el stand es de ICLS, está en azul y naranja. Ahí van a poder chatear con el representante, van a poder ver videos de la institución, van a poder pedir más información acerca de los programas. Así que los invito a que se conecten. Recuerden que estamos hasta mañana, de 8 de la mañana a 8 de la noche. Nuestro último día será mañana. No dejen pasar esta oportunidad. Miren que tenemos una institución extranjera ofreciéndonos descuentos muy buenos para los estudiantes colombianos, que se preocupa porque nosotros estemos allá y tengamos la oportunidad, como lo tuvo René en su caso, de que se puede lograr. Es un caso de éxito. Así que, por favor, vayan y visiten el stand. So, that will be it. Again, thank you. And
Muchas gracias, Carlos. Muchas gracias a todos. Nos vemos pronto.
muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Carlos. And thank you for all your hard work with the translations. I know it isn't easy here at the end of the day.
No, don't worry. No, don't worry.
Excellent.
It was great. It was great. Thank you for your great answers and disposition with all the fair and this conference.
Thank you. Thanks. Have a great evening.
Chao a todos.
Thank you, gracias.